How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears up!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of the Ears Up podcast in 80-degree studio weather. I got the window open and the fan on, and I'm sorry. I'm going to try my hardest to not have that bleed through, but I'm a 47-year-old man. I don't want to sweat unless I have to. You know what I mean? So forgive me. Forgive an old man and his his modern conveniences, please.
At 45, I have to say, sweating, overrated.
It really is overrated. Yeah, it's for young people.
Yeah.
You know, sweating is for the young and the sports figures. It's not for us folks, man.
What sports figures would you least like to be, sweat-wise?
You know what? Basketball players, probably.
They seem like they run
soccer
a lot.
players.
You know what? Yeah,
Soccer
the longer distances.
Although
distances. There are times where they just kind of stand around and wait.
Well, yeah, but because there's nothing to run to.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have to play their position, right? I understand. But those fools, their jerseys are just soaking wet after 15, 20 minutes.
Man.
Couldn't imagine. But it's also half the time it's raining, so who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
None of it.
Well, my podcasting jersey, rarely soaking.
It's because you maintain that nice energy. Right. You know, you're a known factor. Mm-hmm. Your resistance is high to the energy boost or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back, everybody. We are going to be talking a few things here. The main part of the show is going to happen later, and that's going to be talking about the history of Captain EO.
Wait, I'm not the main part of the show.
You're not the main part of the show. No, you're the amuse-bouche.
Oh,
yeah, or something like that.
Yeah,
Taren's going to be taking us through the history of Captain EO, and for those of you who have been with us for a long time, you might go, "Wait a minute, Terrence did that back in like 2018," and to that I would say, "You're right, he did." But while Taren was just kind of doing other research for other topics for the shows, she came across some new information and some kind of new facts and just kind of stuff that she wanted to talk about. She goes, "Man, it's too bad that we had already done that." And I go, "Let's just do it again. Why not? No one's going back and listening to that old show." So we're redoing it all. We're redoing the history of Captain EO, and it's going to be a good time, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. So shouts out to Terrence, and we're building off of what Terrence did, and hopefully adding a new layer to it, because there's a lot of people who don't know what Captain EO is. I mean, I think we did that. I think when Captain EO was either still around or just gone. I forget.
It was. I guess if it was 20, you said 2018.
Yeah, but it could have been 20. The only reason I know it was not 2013 or earlier is because we started in 2013.
Okay.
That's it. It could have been 2015.
Maybe that was when it was still on.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, maybe Taren can tell us.
Yeah. Well, it's not important. But yeah, so we're going to be doing that. But before we do that, Erik is going to be delighting us with a little "What's Erik Eating Again" segment on some upscale Japanese food in EPCOT, if I heard you correctly the first time.
Upscale is correct.
Okay. All right. Well, and after Erik's segment, if you want to go eat upscale Japanese food with Erik, if you can catch him there, that's the thing. He's like a leprechaun. He might be there, might not. He would never know. Hit up our friends at Conci Ears. You can go to conciears.com. That's CONCIEARS. and they will help book your vacation to either of the Disney parks or kind of anywhere you want to go. But they are the Disney parks experts, the domestic parks for sure. They can help you navigate all the ins and outs of what's going on. I mean, as far as the last couple of years, there's a lot that has changed. So if you're not up to date on how to access the lines early, or do the hotels on campus offer the magic morning still, how long is that, whatever, all that kind of stuff, they can help you figure that out. They can help you make park reservations if you need to. They can help you make dining reservations if you need to. They can help you do all that kind of stuff. And by help, I mean do it for you. You don't have to do it. You don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. and try to get a reservation for whatever, Bell's Terrace Cafe or whatever it is. Who knows? You don't have to do that. Your concierge will do it for you. If you're in the parks and you have a problem, or you have, hey, our plans have changed, I want to do this now, or I need a reservation for here, or whatever, can you help me? Instead of having to get into a quiet area of the park and call the hospitality line for the park, you can just text your concierge, shoot them an email, be like, hey, can you help me, hook me up, see what you can do. And they'll do it for you. Absolutely free of charge.
Idea.
Yeah. So it's no extra cost to you. They're great people over there. They are official travel partners. So hit them up, concierge.com. And also, by the way, if you're just going to the parks and you don't need any of this service, you can still buy tickets from them, because it'll cost the same as the parks, charge you as well too. So if you just want to keep everything in one kind of central, area, purchase wise, perfect. It's perfect stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll do it. I really appreciate my personal concierge. If you go for a few trips, they'll tell you what you need to see. Like,
so you can keep the same one. You can keep the same person if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, you can. If you call in, you can say, "Let me talk to Jimmy." From the Supreme Resort.
Yeah, and then you laugh and hang up. You go hee, click.
Yeah, that's
tell him it's IP freely, and I want a reservation again.
It's time again to go to the Plaza Inn. Come on. But yeah, get to know your concierge. We've got a big team.
Man, speaking of checking things out, the other day, what was it, a Wednesday or whatever, a couple days ago?
Ooh.
I finally was able to record the latest episode of The Pyramid Eye of the Ears. And I'm calling Aerojet, or the cultists who helped Walt Disney. And
is this a Jack Parsons thing?
It's a Jack Parsons story.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to listen to it.
So that is up in Patreon right now. So you can go to patreon.com/EarzUp. And if you're not a supporter and you don't want to support the show, which, look, I understand. You don't have to. It's nice. You get good karma points, but you don't have to. Maybe if you're unable to, that's fine too. Or you don't want the reoccurring nonsense. Or I try to think, I've seen this feature for a while and I haven't used it before, but you can put up a show in addition to, like, so if you're not a sponsor, if you're not a member of the Patreon of the page or whatever, you can just buy the show. So you can pay $5 and skip all the reoccurring billing, or, skip the community. Who wants to be part of a community?
Oh, I didn't know that was the thing. Okay.
Neither. I mean, I kind of did, but I'm like, I don't understand how it works. I'm afraid of things. But I just did it with this one. I thought it was appropriate.
Okay.
And it's also a good way just to test out and see if you like that kind of content. Then you can subscribe, and there's all sorts of other content on there. You guys all know that, I'm sure, by now. So, but yeah, it's a good show. I was really proud of it. So my friend, my close personal friend, Mr. Sean O'Sullivan, owner of the 21st Amendment Brewing Company, sat in and co-chaired with me.
Another reason for me to really be looking forward to this one.
Because he grew up down there, and, Sully just has a knack for being on the radio. So I was like, this is going to be great. This is going to be absolutely perfect. And I liked it. It's a long show, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't heard it yet, be sure to grab that. It's in the Pyramid Eye of the Ears feed on Patreon, however that works. The other part about Patreon is being on the creator side. I don't know what you guys see. You know what I mean? I have no idea how it looks. I just know how it looks on the back end. So I'm like, oh, I think this makes total sense now. But I wouldn't be surprised if half of you guys are like, I don't even know what you're talking about when you're talking about, what are you posting? What does this mean?
No, I saw the email. I haven't listened to it yet.
That's all right.
I did see the alert. I saw the description, and I went, oh, I gotta listen to this one. This is good.
All right, sweet. Okay, well, all housekeeping aside, Eric. Oh wait, hold on a second. I got your music.
My music.
Oh my gosh, I was just in there, the lights were low.
No, that's not it.
The lights were that low? Wow.
All right, Eric, what are you eating, man?
Well, you know what? I'm eating the sweet tunes from my friend J.R. Trimp.
There you go.
J.R. Trimp, trimp.org, not leave the J.R. out. Trimp.org if you want to have
You want to have sweet tunes
music.
also, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, what I am eating, what I ate, actually, it's been a few years, but Takumi-Tei.
Takumi-Tei. Okay.
It is the premier Japanese restaurant in Epcot's Japanese Pavilion. And let me tell you, it's an experience. And it remains controversial years later. It's like a relatively new experience there, but it's it's something else.
It's not the Teppanyaki place, right?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
And it's not the sushi place upstairs that has had an additional refresh. It's no longer called Tokyo. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not the sushi place upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I think that's where I forget where we ate. Maybe it was a Teppanyaki place. I forget. It was good. It was good food. Yeah.
Oh, and it's fantastic. I go there plenty of times. Yeah. And there are 3 restaurants now within the Japanese Pavilion, and that's kind of a testament to what people want to engage with when they're at Epcot, when there isn't a giant festival going on where they're throwing tiny bites at you, bites and sips.
That's right. You got to do both of those. I don't,
Right.
for some reason, I don't think of the pavilions as growing or shrinking or adding stuff or going for refreshes. So that's interesting to me that they're adding restaurants there and things are changing hands, or at least, looking like it.
Oh yeah. And Takumi-Tei is relatively new. So if you've been to Epcot, if you haven't been to Epcot, it's one of those few pavilions where they really got a big sponsor. So that was the whole point of the World Showcase, where Walt wanted to get countries to invest into his idea about all these different countries. So what happened in the Japanese pavilion, the main contributor to this was a department store. The department store is called Mitsukoshi. It traces its origins back to 1673.
Jeez Louise, dude.
Right. It began as Echigo-ya. It was a kimono shop that sold door to door. So it wasn't a department store at that point, but kind of like a vacuum place that just went around and sold you kimonos.
I love that. I don't know why. I love hearing about old companies that kind of just shift in the market to whatever they need to do to keep surviving.
Right.
I love that.
And this place in America, in Epcot, still sells kimonos.
Nice. I would imagine the market for kimonos is sort of fallen out.
Oh, well.
It's like wooden shoes, where it's like you can't really.
Well, unless you need to buy some Dutch wooden shoes and throw them into machinery, thus committing sabotage.
That's right.
Because they're called sabot. That's a Star Trek reference.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I figured you were going somewhere with it, and I know enough not to ask.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to Japan.
Okay.
By 1904, this was Japan's first Western-style department store in Japan. It introduced modern retail practices like fixed prices and browsing-friendly layouts. Basically, it was a department store. We had plenty of them in America, and Japan's like, we want this too.
I like fixed prices is one of the pluses on that.
Yeah, I guess that's interesting. But yeah. Today, Mitsukoshi operates stores in Japan and has extended to locations all around the world. Epcot is the only North American location for a Mitsukoshi department store.
That's very cool.
they sell a lot of Japanese goods. They've got so if you walk in there, if you've been to Epcot, you've been in this store. It's the store.
Yeah.
Because they have Nintendo stuff. They have an area where you can pick an oyster and get a pearl out of the oyster, and they will make it into jewelry. They have a kimono store. They sell sandals.
I don't remember this. Like, the only store I remember really going into was sort of like a Daiso. Do you have a Daiso out there in Colorado? You been to a Daiso?
I have not been to a Daiso. I'm unfamiliar.
It's almost like I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody. It's like almost like a Walmart or like a dollar store, like a Dollar General or something like that, where there's like all sorts of bento boxes and different, chopsticks and just, cute Japanese stuff.
So you went to Mitsukoshi.
Oh, okay. All right. I just don't remember Nintendo stuff or like kimonos or whatever. But it was in a rosé fog, so I have no idea what I was doing.
There you go. But yeah, it's gigantic because they do sell chopsticks. They do sell Japanese candy. They sell sake. Like it's everything. It's all Japanese everything.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's a giant store, and it is worth a trip every time.
Love it.
We always go there. For most of this time, there's been a Benihana style restaurant and then a sushi restaurant. In July of 2019, they opened up a new dimension to fine Japanese dining.
A dimension of sight and sound.
So the whole pavilion, always Mitsukoshi.
Okay.
So this is a new restaurant. It's a fancy restaurant. The idea is it's something new that you can do. And so if you've been to Epcot, the restaurants are upstairs.
Yes.
So that's where the sushi restaurant is, Tokyo Dining. That's which is something else now that I keep forgetting the name of. There's the Benihana style dining area. By the way, I have to shout out to the Supreme Resort, the show that I am also on. We did Benihana versus Japan.
Oh,
Epcot.
Really? Who won?
Yeah,
I guess
a few episodes ago.
Tune into the show to find out.
Yeah. Who is the best?
All right.
Well,
I love it.
This is, as I mentioned, this is a very, it's a centuries old property, and they wanted to do something fancy that was outside of the pavilions that they have at Food and Wine Festival and all of that stuff.
Right.
So they took some space off to the side of the department store, and they created this little. This is on the ground level. There's a little Zen garden that's kind of cool.
All right.
And you go into this restaurant, and it's a different experience. You're in the middle of a Disney park, and you're being escorted into a very calm and expensive dining experience.
I was thinking where, when you said, oh, there's a Zen garden, I'm like, how do you keep, because, the Japanese culture is inherently just, clean and orderly.
Yeah.
But especially the Zen garden, that's just even like the next level. How do you maintain that in a park just full of slobs?
I mean, that in itself.
That's crazy to me.
It's something that happens. It's beautiful to look at, even if you don't go into this restaurant.
I bet. Yeah, I bet.
And you probably won't see this restaurant unless you're looking for it.
Oh, the secret restaurant.
Right.
The world doesn't want you to know about.
You check in, you have to have reservations.
Okay.
Reservations aren't that hard to come by. Largely because this restaurant is not you shouldn't have children here.
Okay. All right. Like don't give birth at the restaurant.
Yeah, don't give birth there. But yeah, it's an expensive restaurant, and many people who book an experience here are looking at the wrong place.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they probably want the Benihana experience upstairs. They probably want the sushi experience upstairs. They are not looking for a high end.
What do you mean high end? We've heard that a few times before.
All right.
What are we talking about?
This restaurant is only open from 4:30 p.m. until 8:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
All right. I love it already, man.
Dinner pricing. I keep saying high end. I haven't given you any evidence around anything around here. But
no, so far it's a Zen garden. I've heard more about the department store than I've heard about the place we're eating.
Right. Once you go in, if you're going to do the full prefix menu where they basically, like, you're saying, I want you to give me food.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. What do you think the price is?
So it's a price fixed menu.
Yes.
Okay.
There are opportunities that I won't really get into.
That's fine. That's fine. Just
buy,
in
like,
general.
just one course.
Yeah. Price. Yeah. How many courses?
Got
to make them work for it. Eight. Taren, what do you think? Price fixed, 8 courses, upscale Japanese restaurant in EPCOT at the Pavilion. I'm thinking $275. Easy.
I think $225.
Okay.
All right. Split the difference. $250.
Hey!
All right.
Hey.
See, we know. We're not bougie, but we know about it. You know, we're the kids who look through. We're in the beginning of the Christmas Story or A Christmas Story when all the kids are looking in the window going like, I really want that, but they never get it. That's us.
Excellent.
So we know.
Well, if you want to add in a booze tasting menu with it,
yes,
extra 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The restaurant is designed around Japan's natural elements. So the elements that Japan holds in their like spiritual something. I don't. Yeah, sorry, I'm not that sophisticated.
Yeah, it would take a blog author to explain.
Yeah, exactly. So there are 5 dining rooms: water, wood, earth, stone, paper.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's like the craftsmanship of Japan is
exactly
rendered. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So each room is built around these aesthetics, and they add this touch of theatrical elegance that happens when you order the full tasting menu. The whole menu is built around these elements. So it's soft lighting. It's not something that you really think you want your kids to go into.
You don't bring your Mickey-shaped balloon in there.
You can.
And like of course you can, but like that's not a thing you want to do, or you don't want to see the family of 8 dragging all the stuff in there with the light up goobers and whatever. You're like, come on, man. I'm trying to get fixed prices.
We've been in 3 parks today, and we need to finish this.
You don't want to see that hellscape coming for sure. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, this sounds pretty good, man. I'm into it.
But yeah. So the atmosphere is a big deal. Service is part of the experience. When I went there, every course was delivered. Basically, somebody would come by and say, "Are you finished with your previous course? Okay. Would you like the next one? Yes, please." It was the most polite.
There's no rush.
It was a little bit of rough.
Okay. Fair. Fair.
That's my downside.
Because you're open for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I wonder how many turns of tables you're getting.
And that's it. It's one of those sought after reservations. But yeah, it is premium. It's like the France Pavilion when you go to Le Chef de Paul. You want the French like fancy dinner.
That's right. Or they butt out a hand-rolled cigarette in your pasta before they give
exactly. Eat what you get. But
American.
But yeah, it's you know the culture of Japan, and this is high end. So you have people that are very attentive to your experience. That's the whole point.
Okay.
If you're going to go for the full menu, if you're going to go for the prefix, like we will bring food to you menu, it's all about presentation. It's all about seasonality. It changes constantly. And it's designed to celebrate Japan's heritage, but potentially in introducing some international influences.
Okay.
my favorite plate in the entire thing was a comparison between, you know about Wagyu beef?
Yes.
Yeah. This was A5 American Wagyu beef versus highest quality Japanese Wagyu beef.
Okay.
And,
I would like
and
that.
They had
That's fun.
plated it on the same, like each of us got the same plate.
Cool.
Right.
Separated with, here are the things we think you should eat with this. Here's some mustard. Here's a little bit of ginger. Here are all the things. And that's what was so amazing, was to have them give you an experience that was beyond just, oh, here's expensive food.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and it's also something, it sounds like you would have to struggle really hard. It's an introduction, right? Because you would have to really struggle to go to any other place and even have this available, much less order it for a table and you can figure it out, or you'd have to like cut it up into portions.
Who else does this?
No, that's pretty good. So what was your preference between the two beefs?
Oh my goodness. The Japanese was transcendent.
Really?
Interesting.
I now that I said the word transcendent, like I feel like an asshole. But
No, that's a good way to describe it. That's how I feel about most food.
but the American was fantastic as well. It was just like, these are cows that are prepared in different ways for food. And that also makes me feel like an asshole because we're
eating prepared
these are
meat.
the best cows. They're the best cows, and we have to make them the best way. But it was so interesting to say, this is the highest quality of beef that each country has. We're going to put them on the same damn plate.
Yeah.
And it, like, that sort of experience was incredible.
That's great. That's cool.
And that's what they're doing, because they have sushi, they have all of these other little, like, here's a vegetable plate, and they've been pickled in this way. It's not for everybody because it's expensive as hell.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not for you if you're looking for a fancy meal. It sounds like it's for you if you are looking for a fancy experience of a meal.
Right.
Like, you're not going to, I would imagine you don't leave there necessarily full.
That's true. Yeah. The friend that I went with, he's a foodie guy. Hey, James. He said, yeah, there was a little bit too much rice in the sushi. It was just a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So when you get down to it, and they keep changing the menu and everything.
You got to.
But
yeah.
But what was the only negative on my side was it all went too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And we were still there for over an hour.
But still, $250 for, you said over an hour, so it wasn't 2 hours. That feels like a lot for a short
amount of time. And then I paid an extra $100 for like the drink menu.
So there you go, yeah.
Where they're like, here is this whiskey that we're gonna pair with this. Here is this wine that we're gonna pair with this one. It was incredible. It's like a completely unforgettable meal for me, and I mean, at that price point, I think that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
You go there once or twice, you find your foodie friend who doesn't quite understand Disney, and you're like, oh no, hang on. Oh, if you're going to pay for this, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Victoria and Albert's at the Grand Floridian, where it's this multi-course meal that is designed around you, and it's expensive, and it's fancy, and it's beyond what anybody else can experience normally.
But you're worth it.
But the difference, though, between these two is that one you don't also need a park ticket.
I suppose that's true.
Because like you're not just paying $250 or $350. You're also
you're
paying
wandering
for your
around
park
Epcot
ticket
all day. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, it was just, at this point, a couple of years later, I'm still struggling to find the words, because it was such a well-constructed experience, and it still is. I wanted to do the price game, and we did it a little bit, but it's still, years later, the same prices.
That's cool.
Oh, geez.
Like, it's still $250. You can get a smaller meal for $150 where they kind of cut the thing in half.
Okay.
You can still get if you walk in, you go, I want the Wagyu beef thing. You can just get that.
Okay.
All right.
And you can get fancy sake, you can get fancy wine. All of this stuff could be a la carte if you really want to. But ultimately, it's been the same thing for a while. And from what I hear, the ratings are low on this experience because people think they're going to the other Japan pavilion dining experiences.
They get confused a little bit.
Yeah. They're not paying attention
that's the one
to what
we
they're
went
buying.
to. We went to that.
Yeah, right. That's
It was very
bummer,
bustling,
dude.
very different experience, it sounds like.
That's a bummer, man. I feel bad for that restaurant, and I don't know. That's too bad, man.
But yeah, I feel bad for the restaurant because they make this effort to make it so calming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've got this Zen garden. They tell you about, here are all the elements that are going to be involved in your meal. And then somebody comes in, they're like, my kid wants udon noodles. Yeah. Where are the noodles?
Yeah.
1 star.
Right.
I'm a food reviewer. Don't you know me? I'll leave you a bad review.
Oh gosh. But yeah, it really, if you're going to do something fancy.
Yes. No, this sounds like it.
Yeah.
Right. This is it. This is the thing.
Don't do the tea thing at the Grand Floridian, or do this. This sounds rad.
The tea thing, whatever.
Yeah, who cares? It's just hot water, dude. Flavored hot water. Who cares? You ever had massaged beef? No. Go do it.
And this is so interesting because it's not just here's good sushi. It's here's the best sushi. Here's the best beef. Mm-hmm. Here's the best, like everything is the best. And they ask you, I mean, they're not going to take like a survey at the end, but they're asking you to look at what you're eating and say, is this worth it to me?
Yeah, it's a restaurant for foodies, for people who truly sit and like love food and love the way it looks and feels and tastes. Sounds great. Yeah. I would love it.
The Wagyu beef thing for me in particular, comparing American and Japanese, like the best of both countries, like that killed it because it was so interesting to compare the best of two countries and go, I don't know which one is best.
Well, that's good.
Which one is best?
It sounds like they were close.
Yeah,
it was close. So you said you were there for a little over an hour, but it was too fast. How much time do you think would be appropriate for anybody who wants to go? Maybe they can stretch out that time a little bit.
If you want to stretch it out, I'd say double it.
2 hours.
Yeah. Just like drag it out. Order extra cocktails. Like even if, because that was the thing. Because I ordered the like drink menu with it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that slowed me down the most, where like, I'm not ready to finish this Chardonnay or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I appreciated the pairing, but I wanted more time to experience everything. And really, I think you could probably just say, hey, give me more time.
Yeah. So they would come up and they'd be like, hey, we're ready for your next course if you are, or, I can't imagine that service in a Japanese restaurant is going to be very pushy.
And that's the thing. And maybe that was the overall is understanding that, they're trying to move people through this restaurant because that's business.
Yeah.
But they're also Japanese and they're so polite and they're so accommodating. I think it was more of, because my buddy James is like a huge foodie. Mm-hmm. And he just wanted to move on to the next thing.
Interesting.
And I don't put this on him.
Sure.
It was also because like this sort of multi-course menu was new to me. Like going back now, the next time we go, if he's with me, I'm going to go, give me like 5 more minutes per course.
Yeah.
That's it. And they would do it because it like it's not in their best interest to just keep shoving people through.
Right.
That's not what they're doing.
Right.
Sounds great. Sounds fantastic. Well, anybody who goes, let us know how it is, man.
Takumi-Tei, they are still open. They open later than anything else around there, but they're still there. You could still pick your menu. There are gluten-free menus. There are vegan menus.
Oh.
You want to do a like multi-course vegan thing?
Okay. Vegan Wagyu beef. Love it.
Well, obviously they're going to change some things, but
nope.
But yeah, they accommodate everybody. It's one of the premier places to go in Epcot, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sounds great, man. All right, Eric. Good job, dude.
Nice.
Woo. Love it. Sounds awesome. You already got a couple people in the chat going, I need to go back now. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, mainly it's just Ryan. But
well, if Ryan can pay for that, then I'll go back.
Exactly, man. Way to go. All right. I'll tell you what, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to have Taren pretend to be Captain EO. She has the wig on. We're getting the pants on now. And, I'm going to be a Hooter so she can whine scream at me.
Yes.
That explains a lot of hair-related questions.
Yeah, I think it does. All right, everyone, hang on a second. Ears up. We'll be right back.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Back to Ears Up, where the opinions never stop.
Ever. All right, thanks for sticking around, everybody. If you're trying to cool down this summer, which we are because it's currently 82.4 degrees, that's right, it's the summertime and you're going to get studio temperature checks periodically throughout the shows whenever I feel like I'm sweating a little too much. My pores are doing a little too much work.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you were like me and you want to cool down, you should grab yourself a Hell or High watermelon wheat beer from the 21st Amendment. They're available in something like over 20 states. So the chances are pretty good that there's one around you or your local good beer store can get it for you. But it's the way we cool down here in the Bay Area, folks. I'm not even joking here. You know what I mean? The 21st Amendment is cranking out this Hell or High watermelon all summer long for us. And it is the perfect refreshing beer for podcasting at 82.4 degrees and 41% humidity. Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man. The worst thing I could have done was get this hygrometer.
I know. I look at it constantly.
Yeah, I got.
There's one in my office, and it was 85 today, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, you get like a pack of 3, and I'm like, "Well, Alice wants one. I gotta have one here. Then we got a third there. Here you go." Anyway, check them out. If you guys are looking for good beer and you want to know where to find it, go to 21st-amendment.com. You can find out there, or just like I said, ask your good beer provider if they can special order some 21st Amendment for you. Odds are they would love to do it. And if you're coming to the Bay Area, you want to hit up San Francisco, where this whole thing started at 563 2nd Street, just 2 blocks from where Giants play baseball at AT&T Park. Or if you're going to be, in the less cold part of the Bay Area, I suppose is a nice way to put it, San Leandro. You can go to, I don't know the address, sorry. Sully has drilled the San Francisco address into my head for the past 20 years. The new one, I want to say Williams Street. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but it's the old Kellogg's packaging facility or production facility, which is kind of neat. So, if you ever had a Pop-Tart in your life, it probably came out of this place.
It's true.
So anyway, come check it out. The San Leandro location is where we go all the time and hang out and kind of decompress. And they have a giant patio, and it's always perfect weather. Even when you think it's going to be a little cold, it's just, I don't know what it is about where they are, but it's never like so cold. You're like, oh, I need to leave, because once you start going, man, it's a little chilly. The sun hits, we go at noon, right? So it's like, it's perfect time. Everything's just perfect. It's a really great place to kind of hang out on the weekend. So if you're around the Bay Area, you can go to either of those two locations and see where the beer is made. You know what I mean?
Man, I wish.
Yeah. All right, Taren.
Yes.
Let's hit up some Captain EO, man. I already kind of told everybody why we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Mainly you found some information you thought was kind of cool. And, we thought, hey, it's been a while since we've checked in with our old friend Captain EO. So
really long time.
We might as well just redo it all over again and use Terrence as a building place. We're standing on the shoulders of giants here, folks.
We certainly are.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, it is also interesting because going through this history on my own rather than just listening to it, I am going to say something that I never thought I would say.
Uh-oh.
But I have a new appreciation for Mr. Michael Eisner that I have never had before. He has always been a big enemy of mine.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's one of those people that you hated and you never could really tell why.
He ruined Tomorrowland with the color scheme. He had terrible taste, I felt. But not with everything. So
well, that's good.
Let's talk about it.
We got a redemption story here,
We do.
folks.
This is a redemption story.
All right.
So the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the 80s, folks.
The 80s.
Wow. They were big.
It was a weird time. It was a weird time for everyone. There were neon colors, Cold War tensions, booming consumerism, and emerging tech. MTV, arcade games, and shoulder pads redefined culture basically overnight, okay? It was a weird time.
Yeah. What was weirder, the 80s or the setup?
I miss my 80s big shoulders on my like sailor suit that I wore when I was a small child.
Nice.
Well, they're coming back, so don't worry. You won't miss them
good.
for long.
Sailor suits or big shoulders?
All of them. So Disneyland in the early 1980s was merely a shell of what we know of Disneyland today. There was no Indiana Jones. There's no Star Tours. There's no DCA. There's no Downtown Disney. The park had very recently undergone a full Fantasyland transformation in 1983, if you guys remember.
Sure.
And as a whole, the park was really geared towards a younger crowd. Sorry. I was distracted.
You okay?
Yeah.
What are you distracted by?
You.
Want to talk about it? Me? What did I do?
You were clicking something. I was trying to figure out what you were clicking. Yeah, I thought it wasn't working, so.
No.
Okay.
You wanted to help me. That's
I didn't.
What it was.
I was just wondering what was happening.
I know.
Probably to help you.
Yep. See? There you go.
So the park had very recently undergone a full Fantasyland transformation, and as a whole, the park was really geared towards a younger crowd.
Mm-hmm. I think you said that already.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Now, around this same time, Michael Eisner was having some issues as the president and COO of Paramount Movie Studios.
Can we just say coup?
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Thank you.
Except no one's going to know what I'm saying, but yes. During his tenure at Paramount, which was pretty short.
Tenure as?
The president and coup.
There you go. Thank you.
I'm getting confused now, too. I'm the listener.
It's the COO.
The surrogate.
All right, I'm just having fun. Sorry, I'll stop having fun.
No, COO is an important position.
It
Don't
is.
call it a coup.
The coup. It's the coup.
So during his tenure as the COO and president, and he was the president of specifically the movie studios. He produced such films as Saturday Night Fever, Grease.
Fantastic. But by the way, Saturday Night Fever, completely underrated in this day and age.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Amazing
it's so good.
movie.
So
Amazing
good.
movie.
The Star Trek film franchise, Ordinary People, Raiders of the Lost Ark, An Officer and a Gentleman, Flashdance, Terms of Endearment, Beverly Hills Cop, and Footloose.
He defined the 80s, bro.
He kind of did.
Yeah.
Plus television shows like Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Cheers, and Family Ties.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really successful there, which is why he was very frustrated when he got passed up for the promotion to studio chief in 1984.
Yeah, that seems like a big L.
Also, the person who stepped down, I didn't put all of this information in here, but the person who stepped down, who Eisner thought for sure he would be going in his place, was his mentor. Was the guy who like really built him up and brought him and gave him all the promotions. And so he thought he was a total shoo-in, and then he didn't get it.
That's rough, dude. Because how do you, oh, I mean, I don't want to derail the show, but like, how do you survive that? I guess you move to theme
Well, you
parks.
don't.
Yeah.
You start looking elsewhere, which is what
that
he
would
did.
Make me so mad.
So he started looking elsewhere, and he actually lobbied for and eventually secured the position of Disney CEO. Now, with his background in more of a kind of mature entertainment, it comes as no surprise that as CEO of Disney, Eisner looked at Disneyland through that lens, that kind of more adult lens, and determined that it needed more entertainment for an older crowd, older than children, let's say.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, from his experience at Paramount, he had become very close with George Lucas, and during the production of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And they began a really good working relationship. And one of the first things he did as CEO of Disney was recruit Lucas to work on a Star Wars ride. Because of course, at this time, 1984, Star Wars is massive.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's not how good you are at your job. It's who you know.
It kind of is, yes. So Lucas is working on a Star Wars ride at Disneyland. It's like one of the very first things that Eisner put together. And he had a more mature vision for Disneyland, and that was the first step, that he wanted to really kind of pin Disneyland as a place that was more for just children, which is kind of what Walt wanted in the first place.
Yeah, well, he wanted families, and it kind of shifted maybe more into just kids.
Yeah, it was just geared more towards kids. I think the marketing and stuff, like, it just wasn't really marketed much towards adults. There were things for adults to do, but it wasn't.
Yeah, bring their kids.
but yeah, you went for the kids.
Yeah. No, you didn't go for the kids. That's the wrong way to say that. You went to bring your children.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, okay.
Meanwhile, Eisner had a teenage son who, like every teenager in the 80s, watched MTV religiously. So with iconic music videos from artists like Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince, and Van Halen, MTV solidified its role as the tastemaker of that generation. Now, Eisner saw an opportunity here to bring something hip, relevant, and popular to the park. And he had extensive background in movie production and wanted to bring that experience to Disneyland. But he wanted it to be a more unique experience than just watching a movie, so he decided that he wanted to make a 3D movie. Now, he had the idea that he wanted a movie and he wanted it 3D, and now he needed talent. So he did what anyone would do, and he approached the biggest pop star in the world, Michael Jackson.
So he's starting with just a general idea of, I want to do a movie.
Yeah.
And then said, we can get Michael Jackson, right?
I mean, look, first of all, you missed 100% of the shots you don't take. But second of all, you're the head of the Disney Corporation. Michael already loves Disney stuff. Like, he already loves Disneyland. So, but it makes sense, dude. Do it. Absolutely. Why not? Reach for the stars. Because also, Eisner probably had to go bat strong. He had to flex his muscles and be like, I can do this job. Watch.
Yeah. And that's kind of what he did. I mean, he went after the Taylor Swift of the generation. Like, there was no one bigger than Michael Jackson.
And he didn't
That's
stop
a stretch,
there.
but yeah, you're right.
There's no one bigger than Taylor Swift right now. No one.
I mean, yes, but I wouldn't say it's the same level, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right.
So he approached Michael Jackson, who made, and Michael Jackson had recently made his motion picture premiere in The Wiz, and that was only a few years earlier in the late 70s. And in 1983, Michael had premiered one of the most iconic and dramatic music videos of all time, Thriller.
Yeah.
And so Eisner asked him if he'd be interested in doing a project with Disneyland. And Jackson's agent at the time, I don't think it took a lot of convincing for Michael Jackson. However, his agent did say, yes, you go partner with Disney. That's a good relationship. You go do that. Yeah. So that relationship was born. So now with Jackson on board, Eisner needed a producer and a director. And he reached out to his friend George Lucas. Of course, they were good friends. He was already working on another project at Disneyland. Like, this is great. And Lucas agreed to help produce the 3D movie. But Michael Jackson asked that Steven Spielberg direct it. Now, I'm going to stop here for a second.
The talent is already getting snippy, dude. They're already like, well, you know, I just really feel like E.T. was better than Star Wars, so...
Well, that is the true level of stardom that we have here, though. Like, that he can just sort of do that. And we're working, like, this group, even just these 3 people, even just 2 people, are like the most famous people in the world at this moment. Yeah. And they want to make a movie for a theme park. Like, to me, just the whole thing is odd to begin with.
You know what? I would be shocked if there wasn't a larger plan, and this was step 1 if it works out, of like either a major motion picture, TV show, much more merch, a cartoon, like, because I feel like, especially in these times, in these Coke-addled times, you know, in the boardrooms, it's like we could do. So they already had brainstorms going about if people really resonate with this, we can take it anywhere.
I don't think they did.
Really? Well, I mean, you clearly know more than I do about it, but
I don't think that they did because, I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but it was very successful and they didn't do anything else with it.
Yeah, I mean,
so
right.
I don't think that those boardrooms were the same as they are today, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, 80s boardrooms, they weren't that concerned with money, right?
Well, yeah, and I think that they kind of had a lot of money in the 80s. Like, it was less of a concern, you know? You have this group of super famous people, and they want to make this movie for a theme park. And that's really the goal, is to make this movie that you're only going to see if you go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But he's putting the most famous person in the world in it, which I would imagine from his point of view, from Eisner's point of view, he's like, well, this is going to bring people into the park. Because of course.
For sure.
So it kind of makes sense in a way.
We were just going to Walt Disney World, but for sure, we wanted to go to EPCOT to see that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for Michael, Spielberg was unavailable for the project because he was working on The Color Purple. So they reached out to John Landis, who was also unavailable. Now, interestingly, Francis Ford Coppola was available, and not coincidentally, coming off of a couple recent flops at the box office. And he had made a film called Rumblefish.
Mm-hmm. That was Matt Dillon's first movie, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah, and like no one saw this movie except for like film students.
Yeah.
And so this strain of flops like lost him a lot of money. And so when he was approached for this project, he was pretty quick to sign on. He was like, let's do this. Let's do this theme park movie. Like, sure.
Paycheck, please.
Right, exactly. So they have an actor, a producer, and a director now. And now they just need to figure out what this movie is going to be about. And that's easy, right? Eisner brought in 4 Imagineers and gave them a hefty 3 days to storyboard the entire movie.
Without an idea?
With no idea. Okay. Zero idea.
That's such a... What a chump ass move. Where to me, that speaks more to what you think of the Imagineers.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the bad, but I guess if you think about it positively, it could be in a good way too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys got this. I mean, you came up with all this other stuff. You can do this in 3 days. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So these Imagineers, these poor Imagineers, were tasked with creating the entire story and budget in 3 days.
Seems weird.
So after 3 days, Imagineer Rick Rothschild presented Eisner, Jackson, Lucas, and Coppola. Which, by the way, imagine being in that room and having to present to these 3 people. Like, that is the most intimidating thing. Your brand new boss, Michael Jackson, and George Lucas with ideas on a movie. Like, I don't know, just wild. And they came with a couple ideas. The first idea, now I do say ideas, they did not come with storyboards. They came with ideas.
Okay.
The first idea was that Jackson comes to Disneyland after hours and the animatronics come to life, which, by the way, sounds a lot like one of my Halloween stories. But
yeah. Everyone have a brain has that idea.
Okay, whatever. The second idea was that Michael Jackson play a kind of fairy character, like Peter Pan, and he would then defeat an evil witch by singing her to death. Now, this idea had to death.
All right.
This idea had a little more leg room than the first.
Sure.
But the problem was that the story felt a little bit more Fantasyland than Tomorrowland. So they did what anybody would do, and they threw it in space. Because why not?
Sure, dude.
Now, as the story evolved, it became more and more about beauty as well as singing somebody to death. The evil witch was ugly and was on an ugly planet, and it was Jackson's job to sing her beautiful. Jackson and his space crew transform ugly people with this song. And here's the thing. That is
what an 80s thing, man. I'm
know.
Gonna make you beautiful because you're fine the way you are inside, but the outside, woo.
Yeah.
You're a Minnesota 5, dude.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. Yeah. And here's the thing. There really wasn't any storyboard at this point. There's just barely a plot. There's like there's a concept of a plan.
Sure. Give me 2 weeks, I'll have it up.
And with a randomly chosen budget of $10 million. So they're like, yeah, this is going to cost $10 million. 17-minute movie. There you go. The name of the project at the time was Space Knights. And Coppola openly hated it and said absolutely not. And being the godfather of The Godfather, right? Mm-hmm. He suggested instead calling it Captain EO. Now, EO means dawn, like the dawn of light in Greek.
I mean, of course, everyone knows that. I mean, I knew that. You guys wouldn't.
I'm sure you did.
Being non-Greeks, you wouldn't know that.
No, of course not.
I knew that, yeah.
So Captain EO dawns the light on beauty, shall we say. And Rusty Lemerande ended up writing most of the script and making this sort of feeble concept into some...
No, you're not going to get away with that.
What?
No. Rusty Lemerande?
Yes.
That sounds like something, it sounds like something from like The Big Lebowski. Or, you know what I mean? It sounds like
didn't name him.
Ron Burgundy is here with his co-anchor, Rusty Lemerade or whatever.
Yeah, Lemerande.
Sounds like a drink at Carthay.
Yeah, it does. This guy's pretty cool, honestly.
Rusty Lemerande. What was it?
Rusty Lemerande.
God, dude. Sounds like a car from 1964.
It does.
My Lemerande is shot, dude. It's rusty, man. Yeah. Hey, how much you want
American
for that Rusty
Motors
Lemerande?
Supports your Rusty Lemerande.
Well, he wrote the most of the story. He wrote the script, and he brought this kind of feeble concept to life and made it a coherent-ish story. So the story goes a little something like this. Captain EO and his eccentric spaceship crew are sent on a mission to deliver a gift to the Supreme Leader, a witch ruling a dark mechanical planet. After being captured and sentenced to punishment, EO offers her a different kind of gift, his music. Now, hoping to reveal the beauty hidden within her.
Oh, sure.
Because she's so ugly.
Yeah, right.
With the help of his crew, EO uses music and dance to defeat her cybernetic guards and transform her minions into joyful dancers. And in the end, EO transforms the Supreme Leader and her world into a place of peace and beauty, and the crew departs in triumph. Okay? So that's our story. That's where we're at.
Love it.
With the storyline created, they now needed to cast the witch, and this was important. Now, originally, Shelley Duvall of The Shining was...
Popeye, I think you mean.
And Popeye.
Thank you.
She was slated to play the evil witch.
No, she would have been terrible.
Well, she didn't want to.
She would have been terrible. And I love her. I think she's great.
Of course.
We were talking about this. So interesting enough, we just recorded, I just finished editing episode 3 of the Buena Vista Boys, which is not out, of course, yet. It'll be out, start releasing in a couple of weeks, of Popeye. And Matt and I were talking because Shelley Duvall was not slated to be Olive Oyl originally. I forget who it was. It was Gilda Radner.
Oh.
I'm like, that would have been terrible.
No.
Shelley Duvall's perfect. So I love a Shelley Duvall character. But as the witch, no, bro. No.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky then that she was claustrophobic.
She's lucky.
And
I would have not. I would never seen it then.
She could not handle the idea of sitting for 3 hours for makeup.
Dude, I couldn't either, honestly. Like, I see some of these people, they sit in makeup for like 8 hours still. And I'm like, this is the only reason I can't be an actor.
Yeah.
Is the fear of doing that.
I would love to do that. I don't know.
For 8 hours, just getting these prosthetics applied to you, and then you have to work? No, man.
I don't know.
For 30 minutes of going, yes, I agree.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Whatever line you have.
Right.
Well, I don't want to give that away yet, but
don't give it away
I hope I remember to say it because I didn't put it in here. But anyway, so Shelley Duvall was out. She's like, I'm not going to do this. Okay. So they ended up having to move on, and they eventually gave the part to the then partner of Jack Nicholson, who happened to be Angelica Houston.
Really? Jack Nicholson?
Which you can see the connection because Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson were in The Shining. So he was probably like, they probably were chatting, and she was probably like, have her do it. I don't know.
Give it to her.
I don't know exactly how it came about, but it does feel connected.
Why don't you pick up this part?
Now,
Shelley wouldn't do.
Yeah. No, speaking of not doing this part, at the first table reading, Houston became upset that in the script, she was only playing the evil character. And by evil, I think she means ugly. Because she had been told that she would be playing the beautiful queen as well. Now, Disney at this point had already cast a young girl to play the princess at the end of the film.
Wow.
Okay.
So costumes were in production, and Coppola liked the idea of this young princess that the witch turns into being a love interest for Captain EO at the end. Like, they probably hold hands walking out together, you know?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Sunset.
It would be weird.
It would be weird, but that was the original sort of idea.
So it not only turned her beautiful, but de-aged her.
It did, yes.
Okay, I guess so we got some collagen in the songs. We got some peptides.
Yeah.
Love it. I love this. Let's go. We're here.
But at this point, Eisner's getting a little sketched. He's a little bit worried. And he's thinking, like, Houston may not do this part if she can't play the beautiful princess at the end. And she was actually, God, what's the word? Sorry. She had been currently up for an Academy Award that year. And she was really popular as well. And so Disney didn't want to lose her. And so Eisner asked Francis Ford Coppola to just drop that. Let's just go with Angelica. She can be the pretty one at the end.
I wonder if they weren't falling prey to more Hollywood principles than theme park principles.
Yeah, maybe.
You see what I'm saying? Like the difference of like, we're in Hollywood production. This is what we would do for a movie. This is a 17-minute or 15-minute short that's going to be playing in Disneyland. Like, it's not that important to have Angelica Houston. Like no one's going to come for Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
They're coming for Michael Jackson. Anybody else is literally irrelevant. I don't even care. Even George Lucas doesn't matter. At that time, MJ, come on, bro. So they could have done this and moved on, but I think that they were still thinking Hollywood stuff. Either we're going to protect our potential future working relationship with Angelica Houston and Jack Nicholson, for that matter.
Yep.
Or, whatever it is. But I feel like I'm getting some of that here.
Yeah. And I also think, like, if you think about how much Francis Ford Coppola needed this job and how much Angelica Houston needed this job, they sort of just sided with Angelica Houston and went, yeah, he'll be fine.
He's like, yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Angie.
Good job.
So they've got their witch. They've got their angelic witch, right? Now they needed...
I don't get it.
The music that was ultimately going to change this evil witch into a beautiful one. And actually,
they hired Dire Straits.
Yeah, right. This was actually really easy. They had Michael Jackson. That was kind of the whole point. And this was actually probably the least problematic part of making this entire film, was this music. There were 2 brand new Michael Jackson songs in the film. The first, We Are Here to Change the World, was written by Michael Jackson and John Barnes and produced by Michael Jackson. Can take a listen.
Oh, I'm up. I'm sorry, I'm doodling.
Oh.
What are we talking about? Michael Jackson? All right, so Captain EO.
Clip 1.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hold on.
We're on a mission in the everlasting light that shines. A revelation of the truth and chapters of our minds. So long, we're gonna shake it up and bring it up. We'll share it like brighter than the sun. Hello, good time. We're here to stimulate, eliminate, and completely illuminate. We are here to change the world. We're gonna change the world.
There you go.
So I love that. That song was exclusive to the Captain EO film all the way until 2004.
Wow.
So all new.
Damn, dude, that's cool.
And it wasn't that like it was contractually exclusive. It just that he didn't release it anywhere else. Until
weird.
Yeah. And then eventually and this was after he hasn't died yet. Sorry.
No. So he owned the song. It wasn't like he did it for the thing. He was probably savvy enough to be like, this is my song.
It's
I get
his
the masters
song.
is my whole thing.
Yeah.
Publishing, all that.
Yeah. And so eventually it was released on Michael Jackson, The Ultimate Collection in 2004. So on a, best of, but it was never on one of his albums, one of his main albums.
Okay. Wow.
Now, the second main song in the film is called Another Part of Me, which, by the way, was Jason and my first dance song.
It was?
What?
Yes. It was also on the cups. It said Another Part of Me on the cups that we gave out to people. And it was also on the coasters. It was like our theme.
For what?
For our wedding.
When did that happen?
In 2015.
Oh, okay.
So, as someone who wasn't invited to that wedding,
yeah.
We didn't know you yet.
Can you replicate that now?
That's not the reason. We still have a mug. You all.
Yeah, we could send you one.
Send you the glass.
Oh,
it's so
okay.
many. That was our wedding favor, and probably a third of people just didn't take them. So we still have a lot.
We
of
have
glasses.
boxes of them.
We use them for parties.
I would love a mug, but I'd also love to see the two of you dance to this.
Oh, no.
There
it's
is video
terrible.
of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I refuse.
I have video of it, but Jason will never do it again.
No,
So.
absolutely
Make
not.
them dance.
Yeah, you have to clink your glass,
Everybody.
dude.
Yeah, Jason. That was the
It's
one
not
and only
catching.
time Jason has danced with me, I think.
That is not true. Wholeheartedly incorrect.
Really?
Yes.
When did? Okay. Well, whatever.
Yeah. No, now we're derailing the podcast to talk about me dancing.
You don't
So here we
dance.
go.
You don't like to dance.
I'm kidding. Taren,
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so the second song, as I said, is called Another Part of Me. And this was written by Michael Jackson and produced by Quincy Jones. Take a listen.
The dancing in this movie is great. We had Eternity in here a little bit ago, and she was like, I was a cast member at Captain EO, and during the dance
That's
numbers,
awesome.
I would dance by myself backstage.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm like, damn, that's funny, dude.
That's amazing.
Because some of the moves he does, especially in this, where he does the money between the fingers thing, where you go the international sign for pay me.
Oh,
where you,
yeah.
rub your fingers together. He did that, but there's sparks coming out of it.
Yeah.
And then where he's just moving around. And then at one point he's like, we're sending out a lot of love. And he slaps the back of his hand with the palm of his other one. You're like, what is this? What is this move, man?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that particular
so
song, this was right around his time where he was doing a lot of songs about the world, global issues and stuff.
Yeah.
And this song, he did actually release 4 years later in 1988 on the Bad album.
Nice.
So we now have a story. We have music, we have a producer, we have a director, we have 2 big stars. Now it's time to start building the crew, which you would think is like, whatever. You just go on whatever was Craigslist at the time.
Yeah. Paul's List.
Paul's List, yeah. But they didn't. They had a lot of money, apparently, to work with. So they brought in John Napier, Tony Award-winning costume designer for Cats, Rich Baker, who did the makeup for Thriller, and Tom Berman, 5-time Emmy Award-winning makeup artist who was tasked with doing only the witch's makeup. He only did her.
This seems like such, I don't want to say nepotistic, because I don't know if that's a word, but it just seems like the favor project.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, man, I owe Paul a favor. I got to bring him in. Bro, this is going to be the easiest gig you've ever did do. Like, just come on, do it. It'll be cool. Working for Disney, got Disney money.
It's a 17-minute movie.
Yeah,
it's like 3 shots.
Yeah, I was like, loved it. Like, you can milk this.
Yeah.
You can invoice us all you want.
Totally.
Yeah, it definitely does, man.
They also brought in, if you remember at the very beginning, I said that Eisner was part of Flashdance. He helped produce Flashdance. Well, Flashdance choreographer Jeff Hornaday was brought in, as well as Harrison Shaw, visual arts director for the Star Wars Episode 4 and 5. And the creature designer for Ghostbusters was brought in, as well as score writer Jeff Horner, who would later go on to write the score for Titanic.
God. By the way, I'm gonna do you a favor and not mention the fact that you said the Star Wars.
Well,
so I'm mad at you for that. Yeah, but I'm not gonna mention it. Like I said, I'm a gentleman today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, please.
Clearly. So this is literally shaping up to be like an epic cinematic feat. Like, I mean, you've got...
What is the budget now?
Well, the budget is still at $10 million. What they're actually spending, I don't know at this point, but it sure seems like it's a lot. Yeah, and this is just like a small short film for an amusement park. Like, it really does feel like a favor project, because who's really like, hey, you know what? Eisner just called me and I gotta go do this thing. You know, like, I don't know. The whole thing seems so odd to me.
Hey, I waited hours to see this.
Oh, no. This is like one of my all-time favorite Disney things of all time. So that's also why I wanted to bring it back for us. But to say that Eisner kind of put all of his eggs in one basket in his first year is sort of like an understatement at this point. Like, he's just pulled in all of his friends, but he's also having to pay them. This is a lot, but there honestly wasn't a lot of concern. There wasn't concern at this sort of like lack of plot. There's not a lot going on in the story. But given all the amazing talent that this movie had surrounding it, he just wasn't really that worried. And also, Eisner had a lot of faith in George Lucas. So he was unconcerned since he knew that he was going to be heavily involved. Unfortunately, though, Lucas had other priorities that he was focused on. One of which being Star Tours, and the other being his latest film project, Howard the Duck.
Howard
we all love that
the Duck.
Oh, it's so good. And so due to these other commitments, he wasn't really on set. And he wasn't around much during the filming or any of the creation of Captain EO. He was there for some of the initial meetings, and that was kind of it. And this left Coppola kind of on his own, right? Which you would think he'd be fine. This guy made The Godfather. Like, I mean, it's Coppola. Like, he's fine. But the problem is that Coppola had absolutely zero experience with 3D filming.
Oh, gosh. No, so not the music video aspect. It was the 3D aspect.
It was the 3D aspect, yeah. Like, he can do a film, right? He can make a film, right? But while he was making this film, he had to think in 3D and think about what that experience would be like for the audience and where to put those things. And he didn't know. He didn't have any of that. And so he was relying on the crew for help, who also had no 3D film experience. So,
okay.
However, you know, knowing that there's so much talent and money at stake. Time's money, right? Time is money. So they proceed with shooting the film.
Sure.
What you just go. Let's just do it. They let the 3D aspect take a little bit of a back burner during filming because no one on set knows how to shoot for 3D. They try a couple things here and there, but for the most part, they're just filming a big, giant, long music video. Man. They kind of decide, like, we'll figure that all out in post. Let's just get this story. Let's film it, whatever.
I mean, which makes sense because you have a whole team of people that have just done that. Mm-hmm. Post is new. I think Star Wars really kind of pushed that. I mean, a lot of it was practical, but, to clean it up in post, I think was a little more, on the tip of everyone's brain, perhaps, maybe. So they thought, we could just
For sure, you had to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I think also just knowing that you've got George Lucas in your back pocket, he's producing this, you're kind of like, we're going to be fine. Let's just like not
George
worry about
figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Essentially, I kind of feel like that's what happened on set. So they're going to figure it out in post. And the entirety of Coppola's filming is shot in 3 weeks. And when this gets to the editing bay, they start watching and they think, oh, crap, this is awful. This is bad. The places where Coppola sort of imagined 3D might fit nicely, it doesn't. The way that they shot these 3D portions, they just don't work. The audio is out of sync in a lot of spots. So a second unit headed up by none other than Rusty Lemirande.
Rusty Lemirande. If you're looking for a good car, come on down to Rusty Lemirande's. Hi, we got Hyundai days at Rusty Lemirande's.
So this man, this script writer who put this story together essentially, went and essentially with his little broom and cleaned up after Coppola. And he spent nearly 6 months trying to film and fill in holes in the story to try and make the whole thing work. And they they did the best they could in those 6 months. And of course, you're not going to have all the stars there for those 6 months. So you're using the backs of people's heads. You're using all these different things that are not the actual stars because they were done in 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're on to more important regulatory things.
Yeah. So they did the best they could. But in the final product, there really are still a lot of errors. A lot of weird things happened. I mean, even I don't have this written out, but I read that Major Domo, he's like the kind of robot guy in the film.
Yeah.
At one point, they couldn't find his head anymore. And so they actually used like a toilet ball. What is that called? Like the ball float?
Plunger?
The ball float.
Yeah.
They use that in a faraway shot as his head because they couldn't find his head. Like,
I love
it was
that, dude.
so messy for having such huge stars and this giant budget, like messy. So another issue that they came upon in editing was Michael Jackson himself. Couple issues here.
Oh yeah, dude.
Michael Jackson is famous, super famous, incredibly famous for dancing during this time in history.
Yeah.
And he was particularly fond of a certain pelvic thrust, crotch grabbing type of dancing.
Yeah, that's his thing.
That's his thing.
And
it
he
is
invented the crotch, actually.
He did.
Yeah.
And it is so good for that MTV audience.
Yeah.
But it's a bit much for the PG nature of Disneyland.
Well, imagine that in 3D.
Oh, geez. I didn't even think about that.
You know what I mean?
So also this dance move, because it's his most popular dance move, and of course you've got this choreographer, you've got Michael Jackson, of course they're going to put this popular move in every single dance number.
Of course. It's like
it's throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I was thinking of someone else's talent that you wouldn't. Yeah, but I can't think of anybody who has enough talent. So I don't know.
But they really just could not have this motion in this movie.
Right.
And so the editors had to zoom in on Michael for a large portion of the whole thing. And he's dancing a lot. But when you really watch it, there's more of him up close because they couldn't have the audience watching Michael Jackson's crotch moves.
Which nobody would have cared about.
No one would have cared, but
because it's his thing.
Right.
Like you know what I mean?
Like you hired the guy to do the thing that he does, and he did the thing, and now you don't like it.
The damage is already done in a certain way. Like anybody who's young and impressionable has already seen this.
Yes.
So, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's not new. Wow. Okay.
So they got a little nervous, so they zoomed in on, and he's got a little bit more close-up medium shots than he does not.
Sure.
Now, another Michael Jackson problem was his voice.
Oh, no, don't say it.
Now, let's take a listen to his normal voice in this 1983 interview. Clip number 3.
Maybe.
How are you feeling at this time about the success of Thriller? I mean, the music business isn't exactly going gangbusters, and yet you continue to sell records so well.
Every time I get a platinum album, it's never taken lightly on my behalf. I'm always honored, and it's great thanks. I'm very happy that the public enjoy what I do, and I'll continue to put my heart into my work.
I hate the fact that you gave me that clip.
Why?
All I'm thinking of is the editing I have to do to clean up that hiss or that.
No, you don't.
Bro.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Terrible.
But it's a 1983 clip. Like, it's expected.
Whatever.
When people are listening. So.
Not in this house.
Oh my God. Too perfectionist.
Yeah.
So as you can hear, his voice is very high pitched.
It sounded like my cable interference, like a bad cable.
It's like meek. It's almost childlike. And he is Captain EO. He's this hero that's meant to defeat this massive, ugly, spider-like witch queen from another planet. But his voice is the literal opposite of intimidating. And so editors, while they're watching in the editing bay, they're kind of like, we got to put a filter on his voice. We need to push it down a couple octaves, like make him kind of more of a presence. And they were like, well, yeah, absolutely. We definitely need to kind of drive this point that he is this this captain. And they were like, okay, well, who's going to tell him? And no one raised their hand, and nobody wants to tell Michael, and everyone kind of looks at their feet, and no one wants to tell the king of pop, the most popular musician at the time, that his voice is too high-pitched to sound like a hero.
That's right.
So instead, they close their eyes, and they hope that no one's going to notice. And so let's see if we notice. They didn't make any changes to his voice, so let's take a listen to our last clip, number 4.
To your stupidity.
That's the witch.
To bring a gift, Your Highness, to someone as beautiful as you.
You think me beautiful?
Very beautiful within, Your Highness, but without a key to unlock it. And that is my gift to you.
There you go.
So, honestly, I kind of think it works. I think that it almost gives him this, like, he's destroying her with kindness kind of thing. Like, I actually think it works better than if they had changed his voice. And I kind of like it. I'm kind of glad they didn't do anything to it.
Yeah, thinking back on when I saw it a bunch of times, it was always like a thing to be like, oh my God, dude, what are we doing? Wait, why is the camera all weird? Did Eric go away? Eric dropped off? Eric dropped off.
Oh.
No, he lost power for a second, he said. So our YouTube video is going to look awesome right now.
Oh, yeah.
What were we saying when I interrupted?
Oh. So, since they now had the story portion of the film completed and edited, it was time to add these special effects to make it 3D. Now, Imagineers were actually really excited for this part of the editing because it was a relatively new skill for them. Plus, like, the rest of the film, they sort of outsourced to other people, and they kind of felt a little left behind. They didn't have a lot of stake in Captain EO, which is interesting, but also not surprising considering Eisner had just come from the entertainment movie industry and was like, yeah, no, I'm sure you guys are really good, but, like, I know people.
Yeah. So,
like, it kind of makes sense, but they were a little bit pissed off. And unfortunately, this project was already over budget and it was taking too long. So the entirety of the 3D and After Effects were actually handed off to George Lucas's company, ILM, Industrial Lighting and Magic. And that company, most know, was created by Lucas to pioneer visual effects when he was creating Star Wars. Now, this, of course, left an even worse taste with the Imagineers. And they felt that their new CEO just didn't really respect their talents. At this point. I mean, this is his first project, and he didn't use them.
Well, except to come up with everything.
Yeah, except to come up with well, maybe, and you know what? Maybe that's part of why. He asked them for a storyline. I mean, he gave them an impossible task, but he asked them for a storyline and they came with ideas. And he's like, no, that's not what I asked for.
Well, look, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Who knows?
Never knows, yeah. But I mean, 3 days, like, come on, dude.
Yeah, no. So at the end of the day, the film, whose budget was $10 million, ended up costing $23.7 million. Now, this was a big deal for Eisner, though. This was one of his first real gambles in his new role. And so for a movie created for a theme park to cost so much, how do you like quantify if that was worth it? Like
fuzzy math. You can't. There's no way.
You can't. What they did was they surveyed visitors to the park. And they took polls during the opening weekend, and 93% of visitors claimed that they came that weekend to watch that movie.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's fuzzy math.
It's fuzzy math.
Right.
But using that fuzzy math, that you could think that the movie brought in $2 million worth of revenue just in that first weekend alone.
I mean, it's not out of the realm, right? But like you wouldn't say, I mean, and that's 93% of people polled.
Right.
But you know, how many people we came to see the movie, but we were going to come in. Like, you don't know, but you don't ask also. You don't go deeper than that. If you don't want to know the answer,
no,
you get as little information as possible.
You want to go and tell the board 93% of people came to watch this movie.
Exactly. Exactly.
But thankfully to him, it was a huge hit. It was incredible. It so much so that one of the biggest problems they had was that the theater was too small. And the amount of people who wanted to watch this 17-minute film caused a pretty long turnover and really long waits because it only held like 500 people, which sounds like a lot, but you had this thing packed day in, day out, day in, day out. So it was a really big show for a very long time.
Yeah. Can you imagine being a cast member running that show for the first week?
Oh,
that it's there?
Man.
Just insane amounts of people. And then you probably have to clean it in between.
Yeah, probably.
You know?
It's crazy. So the show did have a good run. It premiered in September 1986 and ran through 1997.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and it stopped being shown at that time, partially, they didn't say this, but partially due to Michael Jackson's personal issues. He was starting to have a lot of controversies.
What?
A lot of which people know. One of which is when he kind of held his child over a balcony and blanket. And it was just sort of, it was time to kind of come up with something new for Disney.
Yeah, I think the prescription drugs were getting to him and he was becoming very erratic.
It was getting weird.
Yeah.
And he had passed his prime at that point. Yeah. And then in 2009, Michael Jackson passed away at the age of 50. And at that time, the park brought back this classic for a limited time. And that started in February 2010. And I believe
that's when we started.
That's when we went and we saw it.
Several times.
Oh, God. There was one time we saw it like too many times in a row.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. So this time, however, because the film that took its place in 1997 was, if you remember, Honey, I Shrunk the I put Honey, I Drunk the Audience. That'd be funny too.
Oh yeah, I drank all the audience. I don't know what happened.
It's Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, and that was Rick Moranis.
That was a good one too.
I liked it. It did not get as good of reviews as.
Well, see, here's the thing. It can't. If it had Michael Jackson in it, it would have. And this is very much the I don't want to call it a dichotomy of star power, but like Michael Jackson at that time could have done anything.
Yeah.
And it would have made a lot of money. Obviously wouldn't have been as successful as Captain EO or any of his other works, but like name is a big thing, and he does pull it out, and you get two brand new Michael Jackson songs, which everyone was clamoring for back then.
Yeah.
So it can't compete. It's not on the same level as Honey, I Shrunk the anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it was also like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids had come out in 1989. And now this is 1998, maybe?
Yeah, and that kind of stuff doesn't, it's almost like having an
like
Avatar. Oh, wait, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, no, but they're having 2 more movies come out.
Yeah, they are, close. But
still. And they just had one come out. So it's.
So the thing that was different about Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was that they made it an actual 4D effect in the theater. So they had the ability to spray the audience a little bit with some mist,
Which never worked anyway. Like half of those I don't remember these things. I only know that they were there.
Oh, really?
But like I don't really remember these things because half the time they didn't work.
Oh, see, I remembered them. And like the whole theater moved.
Yeah, some of that, yeah.
So that wasn't original. That did not happen in the original 1986 through 97.
Oh, okay.
But when it came back out in 2010, things could move. And that's kind of the only time I remember it.
Yeah.
So that's what I just think of it as. And so it's kind of more 4D. Now, unfortunately, this is the saddest part, but Disney has stated that it has no plans to bring Captain EO back ever. But here's the thing. I'm a millennial, an elder millennial, but a millennial. And I have been hearing my entire life that the Disney vault is closing. So you have to go buy The Little Mermaid because it's closing and you'll never be able to buy it again. And then suddenly you can buy it because then they added a scene. And now the vault somehow opened again. So I don't necessarily believe that we will never see Captain EO again. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I am going to keep my fingers crossed. And I hope that we, at some point, get the opportunity to watch Michael Jackson thrust his pelvic
at our faces.
Yes, in 3D.
What year did it come out?
Came out in 1986.
96, 2006, 2016 would have been 30 years. So next year is its 40th year anniversary. Maybe they'll drop it out.
Maybe.
You know? That's the only time I could see is on a big 10 year.
Yeah, 40th or 50th maybe.
Yeah.
I think they have to bring it back. Why would you just sit on it when people love this stuff?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know. Especially it would be pretty easy to put in that theater too.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be very hard.
Right.
So it does seem like something they could just drop in every now and then.
And I hope they do.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Is that it, Taren?
That's it.
Good job.
Thank you.
You know, every time you talk about Michael Jackson's voice, and I've talked about this with you personally, but apparently his speaking voice was never his real voice. It was an act he was putting on.
Like Paris Hilton.
So I have this clip from Spike Lee, which I'm not really a big fan of, but he talks about it. Let me try to play it here for a second.
Out of nowhere, Michael Jackson calls me. Pick up the phone. I said, hello? Hello? Who is this? This is Michael. I hung up the phone. Michael calls again. Who is this? It's Michael Jackson. Spike. I hung up the phone. The third time. See, this is with Mike. Spike, this is Michael Jackson. Don't. See, he used to do that. He had a deep voice. And he would use it when motherfuckers get out of line. I remember we would shoot one of the music films. Spike. He's trying to get my attention. Spike! I turned. Where'd that come from?
So yeah, and he is not the only person. Here, this might be it too.
Paris Hilton does that.
You know that voice, Michael Jackson's voice that you hear all the time, like, oh yeah, like that wasn't talking like that. Like it was like low-key deep.
So finally, after a couple of hours, almost the Brazilian officials leave, Spike leaves, and Michael just sitting there with my friend. He said, at a certain point, Michael looked up and said, damn, I thought those motherfuckers gonna never leave. Now, and he says, hold up, and he says this not in, damn, I don't think this motherfucker gonna never leave. He says it like a black man would say, damn, I thought the motherfucker gonna never leave. Then he got up and walked out. And my friend was saying, he was sitting there like,
I didn't go on that one, but
dang.
Yeah, and you know, here, there's one more clip that, like, God, I saw the other day that just freaked me out, dude.
That's so funny.
Here we go. Here it is, right here. This is the last one I'll play. Hey, are you gonna do it? Yeah, freak. Here it is.
Can you hear me?
Listen.
Okay.
So he's approaching the mic, no pun intended, and he goes,
Yeah.
And then he's like, and he like pats his throat. He's like, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So,
wow.
Yeah, he was just, so it's interesting where it's like, they didn't want to talk to him about it because I think all they had to do is, maybe, hey, Mike, can you, because
I wonder if he would have done it though.
Well, but I think he would have done it in the way that like, I can either pitch my voice up or I can lower it a little bit. You know what I mean? I feel like, but I don't think they wanted to mess with his personality or his persona.
Yeah.
So they felt awkward saying that, but they didn't know that it wasn't a real thing. So I think it would have been a lot easier for them to
than
do
they
it
thought.
anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I had some news to talk about, but I think we're going to save it for the secret show.
Sounds good.
Which we have to figure out when we're doing anyway. But yeah, apparently there's a rumor of a fifth gate in Disney World coming in 20 years or whatever.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on. So we'll get the secret show dates together and we'll figure all that out and we'll let you guys know. But thank you everybody for participating in the show tonight. I really do appreciate it. If you want to support the shows, and it's any of the shows across our entire network, which we have, I think, like 6 shows. We have the Supreme Resort, we have Puny Pod and Bantha Milk. We have a bunch of other stuff. Go to patreon.com/EarzUp and you can sign up for as little as $5 a month. And not only do you support the shows and help, pay the hosting and the website stuff and all that kind of fun, cool things that are involved in running a business, but you get a bunch of extra shows for free, like the aforementioned Secret Show or the Pyramid, the Eye of the Ears that I just talked about, or Puny Pod drops some extra stuff and Supreme Resort drops some extra stuff. So there's always going to be content going on the Patreon page. And then if you sign up now, you have access to that back catalog as well. So you have 10 years of content that you can run through if you wanted to. And most of it's pretty good.
Nice.
So anyway, thank you very much once more for listening to the show. For everything else you need to know, you can find us on our website, which is earsup-podcast.com. Until next time, everyone, we'll see you in the parks.